Transition Tuesday. I'm Jane. This is Joe. We're talking more about nonverbal communication skills and building those skills because it's something that we work on all the time. Finding the Rosetta Stone. So to me, communication with a nonverbal person is like finding the Rosetta Stone. In case you've never heard of the Rosetta Stone, it was a rock that they found, and nobody really knew how to read hieroglyphics until they found this stone, because the stone had a translation in 3 different ancient languages of a message. And because one of the Egyptologists that was looking at the stone could read one of the languages, they were able to identify individual hieroglyphic symbols and learn how to translate. So to me, working with a nonverbal person is kind of the same thing. You kind of have to investigate and watch and learn and look for cues to understand communication with a nonverbal person. So first thing I want to say is every person is different. So communicating with anybody, a person who speaks a different language, someone who doesn't speak at all, someone who has a disability like a visual or hearing impairment, which requires alternative ways of communicating, the first thing you have to do is consider that individual. What are they like? What do they don't like? What do you notice about the person? Joe, what do I notice about you today? I notice that you are smiling. I see that you are smiling. I see that you're pursing your lips. I see that your hands are relaxed. I see another smile. Presume competency. Everybody wants to be heard. You have to start with presuming that the person is capable of indicating to you how they're feeling, what they like, what they don't like. What are those core things that you need to know about a person before you can understand what their nonverbal cues are trying to communicate to you? You do it with your animals, with your pets. When my dog paws at me or goes and stands in front of the door, that's a pretty good sign that she wants to go out. Everybody wants to be heard. Joe, do you think it's important to be heard? So Joe has to really work to communicate with me. Can you tell me with your voice? Do you think it's important to be heard? We've talked about this in other episodes. You getting your motor planning together? It's kind of nerve-wracking for Joe to be on camera. He knows he's on camera. When we do this off camera, we don't see some of this that you're seeing right now. So that's important to notice. What is Joe doing before he can even answer my question, before he can even communicate? Watch how the person reacts in the world. That's what I was just talking about. Body language, facial expressions. So in Joe's case, he startles, He looks at me. He smiles. He gets quiet when he's listening to what I'm saying and he's trying to absorb what is going on so he can react. So this is like really important. You're presuming competency, first of all, that the person exists in the world and wants to be part of the world. And then you're figuring out, you're trying to look for the hieroglyphics. What common signals and signs can I find that I can build upon? Volume. That's a good one. If the person is loud, they're really trying to get your attention. Intonation. Does the person sound angry? Do they sound happy? Are they laughing? Are they crying? Do they sound scared? Do they sound unconcerned, uninvolved? Those are all cues that we instinctively know to use. And it's no different with a nonverbal person. You're just kind of examining it a little differently. So modeling is very important. You have to have some consistency. Once you figure out some of those Rosetta Stone clues, how are you going to use them? So in Joe's case, we practice answering questions and working to help Joe use his voice. Vocalizations. We do it the same way. I try to model what Joe's teacher does at school and try to model it so that everybody who interacts with Joe does the same thing, so Joe doesn't have to work so hard. If 10 different people are asking him to answer a question in 10 different ways, and he has a limited language, then he has to work so hard. So let's do the work on our part, us verbal people, so Joe doesn't have to work quite as hard. So what I do typically to model is I ask Joe a question. Joe, can you tell me with your voice? Can you use your voice? So I'm asking you to use your voice. I'm telling Joe what I am looking for as an answer. And then I'm going to do the same thing every time. Joe, can you use your voice? Yes. I see you trying. Good, thank you. Pick your battles. So if you're trying something new and the person seems resistant to it, or if you're doing the same practice you've done before and the person seems resistant to it, or you seem like you're waiting a long time, or it seems like the person doesn't understand what you're asking them to do, step back for a minute, get your magnifying glass out. Like Joe has a hiccup problem or a cough or something's caught in his throat right now. So would this be a good time to ask him to use his voice? No, it would not. Does the person seem like they're feeling well? Do they seem energetic or interested in what you're doing? If you're participating in an activity that a person doesn't like to do you think they're going to work hard to do it? No. Is it something you think they'll like? So pick your battles. When you're practicing communication skills, there are times when, like, are you feeling pain? When you're going to have to kind of push through the envelope. But when you're just practicing, you're going to use those tools. Steady like a rock. So you're making it a routine. We practice answering questions with vocalizations using this process every day. Pretty much every time I have a question or I want Joe to be involved in something, I do that process. I ask the question, I ask him to use his voice, and then I wait for the response, and I do it the same way or as close to the same way every time. Wait. Be patient. Give the person time to respond, but help the person understand the responses have to happen within a reasonable time frame. We are working on this. Joe's teacher is working on this, and I am working on this. Joe's caregiver is working on this. So what we want Joe to do, for example, Joe, if I say hi to you, can you say hi back? Hi, Joe. Can you use your voice? Hi, Joe. Thank you. We're trying to get that response down to less than 20 seconds, and we're trying to make it organic. It's a basic thing, saying hello, saying goodbye. But the more Joe uses his voice and the more he is understood, the more meaning this Rosetta Stone will have. We'll understand each other, he'll understand us, and we'll understand him better. So we're going to continue to practice this. Every time someone walks in the room, I wait to see if Joe responds. Like, he will look and smile, but will he use his voice to say hello? That's what we're working on. Very basic thing, but it's a really important part of learning to use your voice. So we wait to see if he says anything. If he doesn't, then I will say, can you say hello to whoever walks in the room? And then we wait 20 seconds. And then I'll try to use a prompt. I'll try to do something like that. Now, Joe's really good at saying goodbye. When people leave, he says goodbye. And I don't think it's because he wants them to leave. Right, Joe? But you saw him smiling. Joe's really good at that. So, Joe, can you say goodbye? Bye, everybody. Can you say goodbye? Can you use your voice to say goodbye? Practice waiting, presuming competence, modeling the skills. We're working on it. See you next time.